I'm now going to start my weaving process using my weft thread. And my weft thread, I remember the word weft because I think I can go to the left. So it's weft, and that's how I remember that. So you get your first piece of yarn and you want to double it so you've got a loop at one end. And you're always going to come from the back of your loom, and your back of your loom is where the knots are and where you've got these pieces going across. So I'm going to take my weft thread, and one end is going to come up on one side of a warp thread and the other is going to come up on the other side of the same thread. I'm just going to put them together and pull that through. I'm now going to bring that down quite closely into the center of my weaving. I'm now going to do my over-under pattern. I'm going to start over because I can see that this here is lending itself to go over first rather than under. So I'm going to go over one, under one, over one, under one. I will do that a couple of times and then I'm going to pull it through. As I pull it through, I'm going to pull it quite firm and push it towards the center of my loom there. I want the center parts to be quite tight. I'm going to be pulling my weft thread more firmly at the beginning than I will later on. If I pull it too tightly when I'm out to the edges, I'm going to pull in my weaving, but I do want to pull it in when I'm starting out, but not so much when I'm finishing off. So watch where you're going, because if I accidentally, it's a bit tricky at the beginning, if I accidentally jump to here, I'm going to lose my pattern. So look very closely. I'm going to jump over this one and under this one. So I will be going over this one and under the next one. Okay, see that? Over one, under one, over one, under one, over one, under one. Do it a few times and pull it quite firmly. Push it in with your fingers. And just keep going with that pattern, but watch very carefully so you don't lose your pattern. So I'm going over this one, under this one. You can see here I need to pull that around and you can start to see the pattern happening. Okay, so you can see that over, under, over. If you don't go over, under, you'll just have all of these will be under and all of those would be over. Now, if that's as much as you want to do, you don't have to keep going. You can tie your thread off and then just put the remainder in the scraps to be used later, or you can use the whole amount. Oh, now you can see here I've got two unders. That one is under and that one is under. Two unders next to each other. So I've missed something and I need to go back to see what it was. So I need to undo this, and I can see here is where I've made my mistake. I've accidentally gone over two. So I'm going to come back and make sure I only go over one. Okay, so double check yourself before you go too far. It's very easy to accidentally skip two instead of one. Okay, now before you lose too much of your tail, you want to leave a long enough thread here to be able to tie it off. If I keep going and I make that really short, it's going to be harder for me to tie off. So you want to leave some length here, otherwise you can't tie it. Okay, so the way I'm going to tie it off is this. I'm going to have one of my threads go under and one go over, one of my warp threads. I'm going to then turn it over and do one of those reef knots. So here my left is going over the top first and under and through the hole. So left was first. So now I'm going to do the right hand thread on top, right over, and bring it around and tie it off. I can then cut this off, not all the way to the base, leave about a 1 to 2 centimetre tail there. Okay. And I'm now ready to start my next thread.